hirap na din mga magulang nila magturo sa kanila.
Sir, kailan po ba ang simula ng face-to-face classes? Kasi po, kami bilang mga magulang, yung mga trabaho din po kami at wala pong pag-iwanan sa kanila.
Sir, kailan po ang pasukan ng mga bata? Kasi po di sila naniniwala kung kami ang nagtuturo sa kanila. Mas gusto pa po nila ang teacher talaga sa school.
Sir, kailan po ang face-to-face classes ng mga bata? Kasi parang hindi na normal ang mga buhay nila. Tsaka, hirap na din mga magulang nila magturo sa kanila.
Kailan po ang face-to-face class, sir?
Excited na po kaming magmasok sa school para po makapag-aral.
Marahil isa ka rin sa mga nagtatanong kung kailan babalik ang face-to-face classes sa ating mga paaralan. Mahigit isang taon na ho tayong nakasara. Ang school ay nakasara dahil sa pandemya. Ang ating mga magulang ay nagtatrabaho para sa kanilang pamilya, kumikita at kailangan din po nilang ipasok ang mga bata sa paaralan. Kailan nga ho ba magkakaroon ng face-to-face classes? Panoorin ang buong videong ito para malaman natin ang sagot sa huling bahagi ng videong ito. Ako nga ho pala si Sir Dion, isang public school teacher na gumagawa ng mga videos na may kinalaman sa teaching, learning at pagkakaperahan. Don't forget to click the subscription button and click the notification bell para updated ka sa ating mga videos. Bago po tayo magpatuloy, salamat po Chris and Dennis TV, Ezra Gomez, Adharet the Wanderer, Laila GM Mix, Joffrey Galasgas, Adafang Miners. Thank you po sa patuloy na pagsusuporta. Makalipas ang isang taong walang pasok ang mga bata sa paaralan dahil sa pandemya, ay magkakaroon na po tayo ng limited face-to-face class. Nasimulan ang pilot implementation ng limited face-to-face class sa mga piling paaralan sa ating bansa. Base sa timeline ng DepEd, ang pagpapalawig ng limited face-to-face classes ay magsisimula ngayong Pebrero 2022 sa mga piling paaralan sa ating bansa. Ayon sa balita, ang Pilipinas ay isa sa mga 5 bansa sa buong mundo na hindi pa nagbubukas para sa face-to-face classes simula noong magkapandemya. Ayon kay Secretary Briones, ang pilot run ng face-to-face classes ay naganap noong November 15 to December 22, 2021 ay naging matagumpay dahil sa mataas na level ng attendance ng mga bata. Ayon din sa kalihim, may 287 schools na kinaaniban ng 15,000 na mag-aaral na sumali sa pilot run. Nilinaw ng kalihim na ang limited face-to-face ay sa mga lugar na mababa o walang kaso ng COVID-19 o sa mga lugar na nasa alert level 1 and 2. Ayon sa DepEd Memo number 85 series of 2021 or the preparation for the implementation of the expanded face-to-face classes, ay inuobliga ang lahat ng mga paaralan, pampublikong paaralan sa buong bansa na maghahanda para sa limited face-to-face classes. Ano-ano ang mga paghahanda na kinakailangan na ayon sa DepEd Order number 85 na pinapahanda ng ating department? Una, prepare all the requirements for the safe implementation of limited face-to-face classes in line with the standards set in DepEd DOH Joint Memorandum Circular number 1 series of 2021. Pangalawa, set up the physical structures, wash facilities. Ang mga sabon ay dapat available. Availability of PPEs like face mask, health kit. School must have health and safety protocols. Availability of learning materials. Human resource requirements. Conduct coordination meetings at the local level with concerned government agencies, partners, and community members to discuss their respective participation in the limited face-to-face classes. Secure, free, prior, and informed consent (FPIC) with necessary documentation for schools in the IP communities. Involve the community in the school reopening process and ensure local coordination mechanisms with barangay health emergency response and the local government units for referral system, contact tracing, school traffic management, disinfection, contingency, and school lockdown, among others. Coordinate with LGUs to fast-track vaccination of teachers, school personnel, and eligible learners and their household members. Strengthen advocacy and campaign programs for vaccination of teachers and eligible learners. Adjust class programs according to their alternative work arrangement and conduct an orientation of teaching personnel on possible changes in their AWA. Set up mechanisms to respond to mental health concerns of learners and teachers. Plan for the orientation of learners, parents, guardians, teaching and non-teaching personnel, external stakeholders, and LGU of the eligibility of participation, existing protocols, mechanisms, and procedures needed in conducting face-to-face classes. Orientation shall take place at least 2 weeks prior to the conduct of face-to-face classes to allow parents, guardians, help children to mentally and emotionally adapt and cope with the transition. During the orientation, the school shall observe health and safety protocols and simulate the implementation protocols among school personnel to identify possible implementation issues, discuss possible scenarios during the actual conduct of face-to-face classes. So, kailan po tayo magkakaroon ng limited face-to-face sa ating school? Ito po ay depende sa ating shared responsibility. Ito po ay shared responsibility between LGU, community, schools, and families, the DepEd, DOH, other concerns, and other government agencies. Meron po tayong 4 na paghahati-hati ang responsibilidad. Lahat po tayo dito, wala pong excluded. Una po diyan ay ang safe operations, teaching and learning, including the most marginalized, and well-being and protection. Under safe operations, meron po tayong 2 bahagi, ang managing school operations and homeschool coordination. Number 1, managing school operations. A. Preparation for school reopening. B. Classroom layout and structure. C. School traffic management. D. Protective measures, hygiene, and sanitation. Practices and respiratory etiquette. E. School disinfection, sanitation, and waste management. F. Community strategy. G. Contingency plan. H. School lockdown and reopening. Ang susunod na slide po ay ang detalyadong bahagi po ng managing school operations. In preparation for school reopening, the school shall set up the physical structures, wash facilities and supplies, personal protective equipments or the PPEs, health and safety protocols, learning materials, class programs, and human resource requirements in accordance with these guidelines and the DOH Administrative Order Number 2021-0043. Classrooms shall be arranged to ensure safety of learners from COVID-19 transmission following the prescribed classroom layout. Physical arrangement of chairs and other furniture inside the classroom shall ensure proper physical distancing. Those seats that will be occupied shall be 1 to 2 meters apart, while those which will not be occupied shall be marked with an X. As to the number of learners inside the classroom, kindergarten must have at least a maximum of 12 learners in a class. Grades 1 to 3, maximum of 16 learners in a class. Grades 4 to 12, maximum of 20 in a class. For TVL workshop and science laboratory, 12 learners in a workshop or laboratory. The school shall establish safe entrance, exit, and contact tracing procedures for all those entering school premises. Likewise, drop-off and pick-up points shall be clearly identified and marked. The area for drop-off and pick-up points shall be different to deter overcrowding in the area. Only private vehicles or regulated public vehicles shall be allowed to fetch the learner. Protective measures, hygiene, and sanitation. The school shall set up and ensure the availability of proper sanitation and hygiene facilities following the basic requirements and standard in accordance to DepEd Order No. 10 Series of 2016. Ito po ang tinatawag nating comprehensive water sanitation and hygiene, such as adequate and safe water supply, hand washing station or sink, antibacterial soap or 70% isopropyl alcohol or ethyl alcohol. To mitigate the spread of COVID-19 through sanitation and disinfection, schools shall follow DOH Department Memorandum entitled Guidelines on Cleaning and Disinfection in Various Settings as an Infection Prevention and Control Measure Against COVID-19 and Cleaning and Disinfection of Environmental Surfaces in the Context of COVID-19 by the World Health Organization. The school shall have a proactive COVID-19 local hotline, help desk, or any similar local mechanism that connects and coordinates to the hospitals, testing facilities, and the local government units. The school shall follow a decision model and prepare a contingency plan for closing and reopening of the school in case of COVID-19 resurgence. Separate guidelines will be issued as support for the preparation of a school's contingency plan. The declaration of a school lockdown shall be dependent on the assessment and decision of the local task force against COVID-19. Second, home school coordination. The school shall ensure that preventive alert system in school for COVID-19 is operationalized. This means that the teacher shall ensure that health inspection is routinely conducted during the conduct of the face-to-face classes. The second responsibility or shared responsibility is ensuring teaching and learning. 1. Guidance for class scheduling. 2. Ensuring teaching and learning delivery. 3. Curriculum. Guidance for class scheduling. Class A, half-day face-to-face classes in one straight week, and the other half-day shall be allotted for distance learning. Class B, one straight week of pure distance learning. Other notes: the classes shall alternately attend face-to-face classes every week for the whole duration of the pilot implementation. Ensuring teaching and learning delivery. The school authorities shall ensure that the learning resources needed for the blended learning are sufficient, while on face-to-face setup, teachers shall maximize the use of all available resource materials and optimize the time for learners' engagement, collaboration, and socialization while observing the health and safety protocols. Curriculum. The Department of Education prescribes the K-12 curriculum as a minimum requirement for all public and private schools that will participate in the implementation of face-to-face classes. However, for the pilot face-to-face classes, the focus of instruction shall be the most essential learning competencies. So teachers shall unpack these competencies to ensure that learners are equipped with prerequisite knowledge and skills before being taught with targeted competencies. Third, shared responsibility, including the most marginalized. For marginalized children, the framework recognizes that school reopening shall mean going beyond opening the school gates for teachers and learners. The fourth shared responsibility focus on well-being and protection. Number 1, strategy to prevent COVID-19. Number 2, strategy to detect COVID-19. Number 3, strategy to isolate and treat COVID-19. Number 4, psychosocial support. Number 5, immunization and other school health services. And number 6, strategy to reintegrate. Mga tanong: makakapagbukas ba ang aming school sa limited face-to-face classes? Kailangan po bang bakunado ang mga guro bago magturo sa limited face-to-face classes? Paano po ang aming anak? Eligible po ba silang mag-enroll sa face-to-face classes? Sa tanong po na makakapagbukas po ba ang aming school sa limited face-to-face classes? Well, that depends on the location ng inyong school kung nasa minimal risk area po. Ibig sabihin, no COVID cases pa ang inyong area. Pangalawa po dyan, ang inyong school ay nakapagpahayag ng support coming from the LGUs, and your school shall secure express suporta coming sa mga parent ng mga estudyante na mag-e-enroll po sa limited face-to-face classes and complied with all requirements set by the national government or the local government. Sa tanong na kailangan po bang bakunado ang mga guro bago magturo sa limited face-to-face classes, ang sagot po dyan ay kahit ano pong vaccination status po ng mga guro with no diagnosed comorbidities ay po pwede po silang magturo. Ngunit, ini-encourage po ang lahat ng mga guro sa ating bansa na makiparticipate sa bakunahan ng ating gobyerno. Paano po ang aming anak? Eligible po ba silang mag face-to-face classes? Ang participation po ay voluntary po na may consent, signed consent o written consent po ng magulang. Only learners from within the municipality or the city or within the locality only can walk going to school or with regulated public transport or with available private transport without existing comorbidities. Participating schools may further do prioritization of learners who require childcare, heavily dependent on face-to-face. Ito yung wala talaga, kailangan ho talaga nilang mag face-to-face, walang mag-aalaga, and so on and so forth. Mga estudyanteng nag-struggle na ma-meet ang required learning competencies. Ito yung mga nahihirapan talagang ma-meet ang required competencies. So, the next one, senior high school na naka-enroll sa TVL kasi kailangan ho nilang laboratories and affected by mental health concerns. It should be noted that the vaccination is not a must, but encourages everyone to be vaccinated to lower the impact of the COVID. So, kailan po ang limited face-to-face classes? O depende po yan sa shared responsibility po nating lahat on safe operations, teaching and learning, including the most marginalized, well-being and protection. So, merong school kasi na naghahanda for limited face-to-face classes, pero ang nahukay po nila ay isang bomba. Panoorin po natin to.